Sit down. I need to tell you something the world won't. Comfort is a silent killer. It's the wolf that waits for you to sit down so it can eat your soul from the inside out. I'm 73 years old. I've buried friends who died in their easy chairs. I've watched people I love shrink into their own living rooms until there was nothing left but bones and regret. And I'm telling you this because I see you. I see you settling. I see you making peace with the small life. And you came here today because something in you knows that peace is a lie. Before we're done here, you're going to know the 6 dangers that lurk in every soft cushion, every warm blanket, every comfortable routine. You're going to see them for what they are, and you're going to have to decide if you have the spine to fight them. You thought this stage would be easy. You thought retirement was your reward. You earned it. You paid your dues. You raised your children, kept your job, paid your taxes, and now you were supposed to rest. But rest has become rust. You wake up and the day is already empty. You have nowhere to be. No one who needs you. You fill the hours with television and coffee and the same tired conversations. Your body aches in ways it didn't before. Your mind wanders to places it shouldn't. You replay old arguments. You rehearse things you should have said. You look at the calendar and see more blank spaces than marks. And underneath it all, there's a howl, a voice that says, "This isn't what I signed up for." Because you didn't sign up for this. You signed up for a life. And somewhere along the way, you traded the life for the comfort. You traded the fire for the warm blanket. You traded the river for the still pond. And the still pond is killing you. I've seen it. I've watched Beatrice, who was a painter, stop painting because her hands hurt and her eyes weren't what they used to be. She sat in her chair for 5 years and watched the world go by through a window. By the time she realized what she'd done, she couldn't lift the brush. Her hands had forgotten. Her eyes had forgotten. Her spirit had forgotten. Comfort doesn't just steal your time. It steals your ability to do anything with the time you have left. The old people, my grandmother's people, they didn't believe in comfort. They believed in hardship. They believed in walking the hard trail, carrying the heavy load, waking before the sun, and working until the stars came out. You think that was because they didn't know any better? No, they knew. They knew that the moment you stop moving, the moment you stop struggling, the moment you stop pushing against the hard edges of life, you begin to die. The world tells you to relax. The commercials tell you to take it easy. The doctors tell you to avoid stress. And they're all lying to you, not with malice, but with ignorance. They don't understand that a life without friction is a life without fire. A stone that stops rolling gathers moss until you can't see the stone anymore. A river that stops flowing becomes a swamp. You were not made for swamps. You were made for rivers. Swift, cold, demanding rivers that carve canyons out of solid rock. The modern world wants you soft. It wants you quiet. It wants you content. Because a soft, quiet, content person doesn't ask hard questions. A soft person doesn't get in the way of the machinery that runs this world. A soft person just consumes, just sits, just waits for the end. But you and I both know there's something in you that rebels against that. Something that remembers when you were a force. Something that remembers when your presence mattered. Something that knows you still have power. The danger of comfort is that it makes you forget the power you hold. Let me tell you the 6 dangers. Number them in your mind, number them in your heart, because if you don't name them, you can't fight them. Danger number 1, comfort steals your fire. You were born with a fire, a small wild flame that the Creator placed in your chest. It's what made you fight, made you love, made you stand up when everything told you to stay down. Comfort doesn't put the fire out all at once. It suffocates it, slowly, gently. It wraps it in softness until the flame starts to sputter. It feeds it just enough air to stay alive, but never enough to burn bright. My friend Earl, he was a carpenter, could build a house with his eyes closed and one hand tied. He retired at 65 and spent 10 years in his favorite chair. He said he was resting. He said he'd earned it. But I watched the light in his eyes go out, not all at once, a little bit every day. By the time he turned 75, he couldn't remember how to hold a hammer. The fire was gone. All that was left was ash. The hard truth: if you don't feed your fire, it dies. And when it dies, you're just a bag of bones waiting for the ground. Danger number 2. Comfort makes you forget who you are. You have a name. You have a history. You have a story that only you can tell. But comfort doesn't care about your story. Comfort wants you to be a blank space, a comfortable space, a space that doesn't make any noise. I remember Ruth. She was a teacher, a good one. She could take a child who couldn't read and have them reciting poetry in 3 months. When she retired, she stopped speaking in sentences. She stopped reading books. She just sat and watched television and let the noise wash over her. When I asked her what she missed about teaching, she looked at me with empty eyes and said, "I don't even remember what it felt like to be important." That's what comfort does. It strips away the layers of who you are until you don't recognize the person in the mirror. You become a shape, a ghost, a memory of who you used to be. The hard truth: you are the only person who can hold on to who you are. No one else is going to do it for you. And if you let go, there's nothing to find your way back to. Danger number 3. Comfort isolates you. This is the cruelest one. The world tells you that you've done your part, that you can step back now, that you don't have to engage anymore, that you've earned the right to be left alone. But you were not made for alone. You were made for connection, for touch, for voice, for the hard work of community. Edith was a grandmother to the whole neighborhood. She baked pies for sick people. She listened to the young mothers who had no one to talk to. She held the hands of the dying. When she got too comfortable, when she started to say, "I'm too old for that," she stopped being needed. And when she stopped being needed, she stopped being seen. She told me once near the end, "I thought I wanted to be left alone. I didn't know I was choosing to be forgotten." That's the danger. Comfort convinces you that you don't need anyone, and then you wake up one day and realize no one needs you. The hard truth: you isolate yourself one small choice at a time, and each small choice makes the next one easier. Before you know it, you've built a wall you can't see over. Danger number 4: comfort makes you small. You were made for more. I know that. You know that. But comfort wants you to believe that your time is over, that you're too old, too tired, too irrelevant. My grandmother used to say, "A leaf that falls from the tree is still a leaf. It can still feed the earth." It can still shelter the ant. It can still be part of something. But comfort tells you that you're a leaf that has fallen and your job is over. Just lie there. Let the wind take you. Let the rain rot you. When my grandfather died at 82, he was still working, not because he had to, because he couldn't stop. He said, "A man who stops moving gets buried standing up." He split wood until 3 days before he died. He was still giving, still contributing, still part of the world. He didn't get small. He got old, but he didn't get small. The hard truth, you decide how big you get to be. No one makes you small, but you. Danger number 5. Comfort distorts your sense of time. Time is the only thing you truly have. And you don't have much left. That's not a sad thing. That's just a true thing. But comfort lies to you about time. It tells you that you have more. It tells you that the world will wait. It tells you that tomorrow is a good enough day to start living. But tomorrow is a phantom, a ghost that never arrives. Tomorrow is always a day away. I've sat with dying people. I've held their hands. I've watched them take their last breath. And every single one of them, when they knew they were close, said the same thing. They didn't say, "I wish I'd watched more television." They didn't say, "I wish I'd spent more time on the couch." They said, "I wish I'd done more. I wish I'd loved harder. I wish I'd taken the trip. I wish I'd said the thing." Comfort lets you put off living. It makes the days blur into weeks, blur into years. And then one day you look up and you're out of time. The hard truth, you are running out of time. Not next year, not next month, today. And comfort is the thief that steals your attention from that truth. Danger number 6. Comfort convinces you that your story is over. This is the big one, the one that kills the spirit before the body gives out. You have a story. It's not finished. The last chapters aren't written yet. But comfort tells you that the climax has passed, that the exciting part is over, that all that's left is the quiet, boring epilogue. And you believe it. You start telling yourself that your best years are behind you, that you've already done everything you're going to do, that you're just waiting for the curtain to fall. James was a rancher, a tough man, worked in the sun his whole life, lost his wife and his hip within a year, and he gave up. He said his story was over. He moved into a small apartment, watched the clock, stopped calling his children, stopped answering the phone. He died alone in that apartment, and when I went to clear it out, there was nothing in it. No photos, no books, no letters, just a bed and a chair and a clock that had stopped. He died before his body did. I see that happen all the time. People who are still breathing, but their story has been over for years. The hard truth. Your story is over when you decide it's over, not 1 second before. Now. I've told you the 6 dangers. I've named them. I've shown you what they look like through the lives of people I've loved and lost. But the harder question is about you. Because it's easy to look at Earl and Ruth and Edith and James and say, "I'm not like that. I won't let that happen to me." But look around. Look at your life. Where have you let comfort in? Where have you stopped pushing? Where have you made peace with the small life? Have you stopped leaving the house because it's easier to stay in? Have you stopped calling your friends because you don't have anything new to say? Have you stopped learning because it's hard to remember new things? Have you stopped loving because it's easier to be alone? I'm not asking you to be ashamed. I'm asking you to see. Because I believe in you. I believe you have more left. I believe your story isn't over. I believe you still have fire in your chest. I believe you still have power to shape the world around you. But you have to choose it. You have to choose to get uncomfortable. You have to choose to fight. You have to choose to live like you mean it. So here's what I want you to do. Just one thing. One small thing. Tomorrow morning, before you settle into your comfortable spot, do one thing you've been putting off. One hard thing. One uncomfortable thing. Make a phone call you've been avoiding. Write a letter you've been putting off. Take a walk in the cold. Wake up early and watch the sun come up. Do something that makes you feel alive again. Don't do it because you have to. Do it because you're still alive. Do it because your fire is still burning. Do it because your story isn't over. You're not too old. You're not too tired. You're not too broken. You're still here. And as long as you're still here, you still have power. Down in the comments, tell me, which one of these 6 dangers has its claws into you the deepest? Just a number, 1 through 6. I read every one. Now stand up, stretch your bones, go outside and feel the wind on your face. Remember what it feels like to be alive. The fire's burning low, the lights going down behind the rocks. You've got fewer evenings ahead than behind. Don't waste a single one.